Vincent Briatore here, and today I want to talk about a couple of different things that are, the first one's not so closely related to cryptocurrency, and that's of this guy, Tony Robbins. Is it Robinson? Anthony Robinson? Robbins. I think it's Anthony Robbins. Is Anthony Robbins for real? So I know a lot of you guys have heard of this guy. He's like a guru, kind of motivational speaker kind of guy, and I've heard of him many times. He's pretty famous. Guy's richer than God knows. I think he's worth about $500 million. The other day I was reading articles online and I stumbled upon articles about this Tony Robbins guy, and a lot of it was negative. And so I read into it and I was like, man, all these people mad. And they're talking about this documentary on Netflix called Not Your Guru or something like that. And so I was like, you know what? So I at the time, I didn't even have Netflix. So I went ahead and signed up for Netflix, ran up on there. Well, anyway, I got on the Netflix and watched this documentary because I was curious. And, if you guys know how I feel, I'm not one of those people that subscribe to these motivational speakers often. I'm not really sold on that whole sphere. I like more concrete information, educational information that I can actually do something with. And maybe it's because normally I'm pretty a self-motivated person to begin with, so I don't really need that. But anyhow, let's just cut to the chase. Madonna Santissima. This Tony Robbins is something else. And I got to tell you, and I'll break it down a little bit, but in my personal opinion, this guy is very genuine. And I think why is it like what I'm saying? Okay, so hopefully I won't get interrupted by the phone again. So I watched this documentary. I feel like honestly he gets a lot of hate that is not necessarily deserved. And I'll discuss in particular the article that I read and this documentary. So the documentary takes a stance that's very neutral. It doesn't feed too much into creating an image that is not realistic of Tony, and it just tells it as it is. In one of these 6-day seminars that he does called the Date with Destiny. So this Date with Destiny, I like that name. It's a little cheesy though. Anyway, Date with Destiny will set you back 5 G's, okay, to be part of the seminar. And there's 2,500 people at this seminar in Florida. So I'm just throwing some numbers together, but 5 G's, if it was 1,000 people, 5 G's a piece is 5 million. Am I right? I think I'm right. So you're talking about $15 million. Now, with this package, you also get the hotel for a week, and you got to understand that he also speaks for like almost 12 hours per day, but it's 12 hours of entertainment or education, whatever you want to call it, per day. So if you break it down per hour, it's pretty reasonable. I mean, you get hotel and food is included. It's not that bad, but a lot of these articles, they keep on repeating over and over the cost. It's $5,000, it's $5,000. It's like, well, okay, if you haven't done such a seminar or thing, it might strike you as particularly expensive. But when you break it down and you realize you're having 12 hours per day for 6 days with food and with lodging, it's not that bad to me, honestly. He puts a lot of work into it. It's not. I can only imagine staying on stage for 12 hours. Anyway, moving on. Then people were criticizing the fact that he made this one lady. I don't know if you guys have watched the documentary. If you've watched the documentary, you know what I'm talking about. So this one lady, he makes her break up with her boyfriend while she's, during the show. Like she stands up, he approaches her, they talk, and it's like, okay, well, now let's get this clear. All these people were so shocked online writing, how could he make a break up with the girlfriend on the phone? And I'm like, listen, okay? She pointed out that it was relationship. She was unhappy. She led Tony into this part of the conversation that then ended up talking about her current boyfriend. And he straight up asked her, she was like, is this the man for you? Is this the man you're in love with? Like, this is the person you're going to be with? And she says, no. And he says, well, why are you with him? I was like, well, I don't want to hurt his feelings. And so he put himself in a position where he's like, well, you need to take action. Call him up right now and tell him that, it's not working out. You can't stay with somebody just because you don't want to hurt their feelings. Because then you're going to wake up 10 years from now, you're going to be wanting, scusa. It is what it is. So anyway, I felt like it was reasonable how he approached her and handled that situation. I don't know what people are going off on. Then there was another guy that was talking about committing suicide. And anyway, he approached each one in a very reasonable way. Another one that a lot of people were getting upset at is the girl that grew up in some sort of cult, right? Called not the Soldiers of God, but the children of God. Anyway, it was one of these. I think it was in Brazil, South America, somewhere where they were sexually assaulting each other. It's a cult. There was a lot of sexual abuse. She grew up in this environment, and then now she's like in her 27. It's like a decade has passed since she has removed herself from this situation. However, she's riddled with anxiety and all kind of feelings, PTSD, God knows what else, that is preventing her from having any significant and open relationship with someone and communicating. And it's understandable. Okay, so he talks to her, then makes her pick out 3 people from the crowd, and he calls those the uncles. And it's like, these people are someone you can talk to. And everybody was like mad, and they're like, oh, someone who's a victim of sexual abuse, how would you put them with guys? It's like, for one, she picked these guys. These guys is not people that are going to live with her, okay? These were genuine, nice people that, I think 2 out of 3 were gay anyway. But she picked them out. These are decent people. They're in, and they want to help. That's the kind of feeling I get from the whole seminar. And being that it's been a decade since the abuse happened, I think it's critical that she have some sort of contact with a male figure that is not interested in her in a sexual way, that just wants to help. And where are you going to meet such people? Well, the seminar is a good place, and you're going to have to put yourself out there. I'm not saying that, obviously, he's no psychiatrist. I don't know if it was a great move, but this guy's been doing this for 30 years. I feel like he has a good heart. He's obviously had success, a great amount of following. Sometimes you have to take some chances because he has damaged some people, maybe, but psychiatry has damaged people. Psychology has damaged people. Everything damages people. Okay, he's taken a different approach of things, and honestly, I can see the rationale, and I can see how it could help. She turned the whole thing around. And a lot of the people have moved on and really changed their life for the positive. I was reading an article that was saying that one of these seminars, it was in Dallas, he does a thing where you walk across coals. And I was like, that's an interesting idea. But then they're like, well, 30 of these people ended up being treated for second-degree burns. And I'm like, okay, and I keep on reading the article, and it's like, people were stopping on the coals to take selfies. And I was like, come on, let's be honest with you. If you brought 2,500 people to a skating ring, you would have to treat a couple dozen to the emergency room. It's just 2,500 people in a group, there's going to be some dumbasses. So when they said, oh, there's people taking selfies on the hot coals, I'm like, of course. I don't know, dude, but I think that he's very genuine. I think he's helping people. Is it expensive? Yeah, he's a rich person, and there's always going to be people taking shots at you. But I didn't see that any of the arguments and any of the criticisms towards him were very valid. And if you guys know me, I call it like it is. Like, with the McAfee, with people, I have no problem calling out people that I think are scam artists or that are harming people financially, emotionally, whatever. But the Tony Robbins, in my opinion, it is not so. Another piece of research that I was reading was kind of against the whole Tony Robbins thing, because they were saying that all of these type of self-motivational seminars, within 6 months to a year, or even just months after the seminar, you pretty much return to how you were prior. And I'm like, yes, well, anything is going to be that. You're not going to have a high percentage of people that literally change their entire life with one seminar. However, some of them did. I believe full-heartedly that some of them completely changed their lives after attending one of those seminars. So there's that positive. You can't expect everybody to completely make a change. And if them going once a week to these seminars, or however often they go, helps them, it's like a spiritual retreat, then more power to them. So in other words, I think there's a lot of other people that are scamming, that are shady, that can be criticized. Tony Robbins is one of those that I think is very genuine, and he's helping people. Some of the things he say are a little off the wall. Some of his ways of doing things are a little unorthodox. However, I'm not so quick to call him a charlatan or to criticize the way he handles things. There's a lot of other people that I'll criticize first. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. And it is what it is. People see someone who's very successful, has made a lot of money, doing a certain thing, and everyone wants to criticize them. And I'll tell you why I felt some type of way in the beginning about Tony Robbins, and I wanted to investigate and watch the documentary, was because when I had my first company, Imperative SEO, and I was consulting on Providence, one of my clients was an attorney who had 3 different law offices. So I was doing SEO and PPC campaign management to help him gain more leads. So he was like personal injury attorney. And he just started pushing this whole Tony Robbins thing on me. And he's like, you should read the book and hear the tapes and hear all this stuff. And it mounted up. It's like he's paid hundreds of dollars for these programs and courses. In my mind, I was like, whoa, that seems like a lot of money. And he was just like, he was an evangelist for it. He was such a believer in that kind of, I was like, whoa, why are you so into this? It almost, in my mind, is like, it sounds like a religion almost. And it's like, dude, I don't need to be motivated. I'm already motivated. I already got my company. I'm working my ass off 16 hours a day. I don't need Tony Robbins up in the mix. But he was just so adamant, so pushy about me reading the book. So I read it and I was like, okay. And that was kind of, I think he left a negative kind of impression for me, because it just seemed so obsessive. And he did the coal walking, and he would go every year. And I think he paid more so that he have like the platinum thing, so he could actually do the meet and greet and whatever. But you know what? Looking at it, watch the documentary. It's a tearjerker. And I don't know. I was just so surprised at the amount of articles and the criticism that he got. And it's just like, I watched the documentary, and I was like, I don't see it. I see someone who's taking chances. You can't be frozen by fear by making mistakes. I mean, sometimes you got to try to help people, and if it works, it works. If you're always worried about the proper way of doing it, or the standard way that in your culture or professionally they handle things, it might not always be right, and you got to think outside the box. And I think that he really does that, and he's helping people. And there's always going to be some naysayer. And it's always some pseudo-intellectual, post-grad student looking at the stuff that has this built-in cynicism of everything. And I love cynicism. Like, I like questioning everything. But let's give credit where credit is due. And you can't be a snob about everything. You have to look at it for what it is with an open mind. And all these people, they start the article with like, oh, I have an open mind. And then they just trash talk him. Even though he claps, he's got big hands. And I'm like, man, whatever. He's doing something. What are you doing? Sitting there typing away criticism, never done anything in his life worthy of praise or whatever. Maybe I'm taking it too far. Anyway, that's my opinion. That's it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Like I said, I do cryptocurrency picks. We talk about business and all kind of other things. So hopefully you find some value in it. Subscribe button below. And until next time, buy red, sell green.